Hello there, tennis fans. It's mixed doubles time again. I'm Kerry.
And I'm Matt.
This year, we Los Angelinos were lucky enough to have the men's Davis Cup matchup between America and Great Britain just a little bit down south in San Diego at Petco Park. John Isner, who is the highest ranked U.S. player, he's number 13 in the ATP rankings, did have to withdraw from the U.S. team a mere 11 hours before the matchup due to a right ankle injury. He was replaced by Donald Young, who's ranked number 77 in the world. This was Young's debut Davis Cup match for the U.S. though, and a pretty daunting task at that for his first match to be up against the reigning Wimbledon champion. So the kid did his best. Since Matt and I were in San Diego and able to get some up close and personal footage, let's go ahead and show some clips from this match. Right now we're watching a super intense match between Sam Querrey and Andy Murray. If Sam doesn't go through with this one, Great Britain takes it. If he does, then it comes down to the very last match of the tournament between James Ward and Donald Young. So fortunate for us were the results.
Young pretty much got blown away in the first match against Murray, 6-1, 2, and 6-3.
The previous time a British team beat the U.S. was in 1903.
Just a little ways back.
Such a bummer that Isner dropped out.
It was tough to hear that, and when I heard Donald Young was going to be the first matchup, I was, did a double take. That was a tall order. Going up against Murray on clay. I think the clay maybe backfired a little bit on them, even though they chose to play on clay.
Right.
Donald Young, in watching him, that was the first time I saw him up close.
Yeah.
I was impressed. He had good movement, getting to the ball. But his forehand, he just couldn't find the range on his forehand. He was going for his shots. He was trying to be aggressive on the forehand side, but Murray just too much.
Yeah, I'm sure he was intimidated. He was the youngest player in this whole tournament.
Maybe you're thinking you're going to be down the roster 3 or 4 on the singles if it so happens that someone were to get injured, and guess what? Donald has to step up.
Right.
And then going against Murray, having a good Australian Open, and then also, like you said, winning Wimbledon last year, that's just tough.
Yeah, definitely. God, John, what the hell? I wanted to see you play.
Son of a biscuit. Next time. Next time.
So the second match of the day, and what turned out to be the most significant of the tournament, was between America's Sam Querrey and Great Britain's James Ward. Querrey being ranked 55th in the world to James Ward's 175th ranking. Querrey was definitely the favorite going into this match. Then, going into the second set, after Querrey easily took the first 6-1, I'd say everyone pretty much thought it was a wrap on this match and the teams were going to enter the second day at a 1-1 tie. Well, folks, that is not what happened. Ward miraculously turned things around in the second set and went on to play some seriously incredible tennis. Ultimately, Ward stunned everyone and broke Sam in a 5-set match, even taking the 5th and final set 6-1.
That match was a tough match to watch. It was fun because that's Davis Cup. When you're in front of a home crowd, a USA crowd, and the pressure's on. You're on the clay court, which is, like we said before, backfired, but ultimately was the equalizer because you're doing a lot of moving, a lot of getting to the ball. I think Ward found the key in that second set with the drop shot. He had Sam coming in a lot, and then Sam just couldn't figure it out, and it was tough. Sam's, was nice enough to come on and talk with us, so it was hard to see him go out that way. Credit to Ward, he played an inspired match.
Absolutely. It seemed like he really got a hold of Sam's serve after that first set. But then in the second, and from there on, it felt like Ward kind of figured it out and managed to, he broke Sam several times.
Yeah, and even in those tie breaks, you felt like Sam had control, and then Ward became the dictator all of a sudden. And Sam was just kind of, I think, waiting back a little too much to wait for Ward to maybe make a mistake. Didn't happen.
It's an interesting tournament because I'd say before we heard that Isner was dropping out, most people went into this being like, America's going to take this. I certainly did. I felt like, America either had a good chance of going into the second day 1-1 or 2-0 against Britain. And the fact that they went, the opposite, 0-2 into the second day was a little bit shocking to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people as well.
Donald Young falling, in the straight sets, and then Sam kind of had that in the bag and then took his foot off the gas. That's what happens in Davis Cup play.
Yeah, good job, James. That was a killer match to watch.
So, and good for him. I mean, to be 175 in the world, come into that match, and not a lot of people thinking that he could do it, and to win in that fashion, going 5 sets, and then 6-1 in the fifth. I mean, that's an incredible effort.
I would say that Ward's tremendous demonstration pretty much won him the MVP award this time.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on a great victory, and we look forward to watching you play the rest of the weekend. Nice.
This was a monstrous win for Great Britain, and now the pressure was weighing pretty heavily on the Americans.
Yeah.
The second day in San Diego, the extraordinary pair of brothers, Bob and Mike Ryan, hit the court with a vengeance.
What's up, guys? I'm here at the Davis Cup, and Matt's somewhere in the stadiums at this point. We're going to watch the Ryan brothers play today, and it's going to be a good match, so let's go.
In the end, the Bryan brothers took out Great Britain's doubles team, Colin Fleming and Dom Inglot, with ease. Then, going into the third and final day at the Davis Cup, Great Britain led 2 points to America's 1. So, in order for America to come through, they needed to win both singles matches on this day. Britain came guns a-blazing and put Murray up against Sam Querrey first. Sam played well, and it was a really close match. The first 2 sets in particular were serious nail-biters. Murray took the first set in a tiebreak, and he only won by 2 points. And then Sam went on to take the second set, also in a tiebreak. Sam's best friend, John Eisner, who was supposed to be playing this match, was sitting on the sidelines watching nervously. I was watching him a few times, biting his nails.
Good effort
Yeah.
going in, but I think it was just too little too late. When I was down there, I talked to also one of the photographers that I know, and he noticed that the American bench was, night and day compared to the British bench, because he made a mention that all the Brits, those guys came up in the juniors together, so they all were a very tight-knit group. The Americans, not so much. That's where you kind of see, a guy like Andy Roddick is missed, because he was kind of, the one that brought everybody together,
Right.
unified everyone, got everyone fired up.
Bummer. God, it would have been awesome to have it come down to that fifth and final match between Ward and Young.
Which makes you wonder, if it wasn't on clay, what would our chances have been?
Right,
Possibly. But c'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
Ultimately, Murray took the match to clinch the win for Great Britain.
Such a massive win for Great Britain. The U.S. is one of the most successful of all Davis Cup nations, and Great Britain just took them out to advance to the Davis Cup quarterfinals for the first time since 1986. What do you think that this holds for the future of men's tennis? I know that there's a lot of criticism right now of how it's just not the way that it used to be in the Courier, Roddick, Sampras, Agassi days. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we got spoiled. Now it feels like it's a drought, and it feels like we've just kept on talking about this, and no one has kind of risen to the challenge or come about.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have the top 4: Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, Murray, and maybe even the 5th with Wawrinka now, stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
So no Americans really anywhere in the rear view.
I know that Eisner has got some huge potential, and then, Sam, I know he can get back up there. I know he can.
Yeah, it's still early in the year.
Yeah.
When guys get healthy, then they can maybe step it up, and maybe this will eventually just save them for the rest of the year. And
Right.
so while they're resting right now, while other players are getting tired, come time around the French Open, and maybe even after, playing long, grueling matches on the clay, maybe the Americans will kind of jump ahead and be healthy.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see. One thing that I thought was a little bit funny to watch at the Davis Cup, Murray is an incredibly finicky player. Is it just me, or did you notice that as well? Because during the match with Sam in particular, I felt like he was stopping and pausing the points, or like waiting to serve, or pausing Sam and making him wait to serve, because there would be like someone slightly standing in the crowd, or someone who was like, this far away from getting to the end of the walkway, but he wanted them to get all the way before he would start the point. And it was like at one point I felt like I saw Sam turn around to see what Murray was talking about, and he kind of did one of those
Really?
Yeah. kind of things, because it was just constant through the match, constant stopping.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a little bit of gamesmanship, but
Right.
also making Sam think about it a little bit more. But yeah, it did get to a point where you're like, really?
Okay, so the coaches, we had Jim Courier for the, not the coaches, the team captains. We had Jim Courier for the Americans.
They're coaches. They're coaches.
We had the coaches, the captains, and then we had Leon Smith for Great Britain.
Yep.
Big difference between the two. Obviously Courier had a much bigger career than Leon Smith did, but as far as the energy and the enthusiasm, Courier was so straight-faced. I mean, he was sitting on the bench like this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very.
Whereas the other guy was like up and brooding and screaming, you know, and I felt like that really helped the British team. I mean, Courier was like so just like flat.
Yeah, I know the Brit coach Leon Smith. He, never had a great career.
Yeah.
But works with a lot of the juniors and the up and coming players. Their junior development. The players know him, and he knows the players, and so he kind of knows how to work with them and motivate them. I feel like Courier maybe felt like since they're professionals, doesn't need to say a whole lot, or maybe he says that back, in the locker room. For Courier, a guy that's won 2 French Open titles on the clay, get after your players, if they're struggling on the clay. Maybe it's time to, inject some life into them and just, get on them a little bit.
I mean, he was so serious, and I think that team spirit has such it plays a huge component in motivating. So the next big tennis event that we have this year is the Indian Wells Tournament in Palm Springs, which is coming up next month in March. Do you have what do you think? Who are your picks for this tournament?
Oh, well, on the men's side, I can't go against Nadal. Hopefully his back is right. Let me put that disclaimer out there. On the women's side, I'm going to go with my girl, Eugenie Bouchard.
You think that Eugenie is going to win the tournament?
I'm going to say it right here, right now.
That's a big bet. Should we put some money on it?
That's pretty bold. That's pretty bold.
Bold bet. The one advantage to many of the women is that Serena does not play in this tournament. So
now there's rumors that she might be playing. So we'll see. We'll talk about that next time.
yeah.
But
we shall find out.
We shall find out.
Yes. As far as the men, for me, I would love to see Wawrinka continue his winning streak. I do love me some Wawrinka. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind seeing Delpo come back and take another one of these tournaments. It's been a minute, so come on, Del Potro. You know how much I love you.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, hopefully he's healthy. So.
Yeah. What do you think about Radwanska? You think she's gonna do well in this tournament? She did pretty darn well. Well, she did well in Australia, and then she kind of sank.
Rad. Yeah. I mean, it's just her mindset. That's what it comes down to. So if she's mentally focused and prepared, then she can play lights out. But she's got to bring it though.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with Azarenka for the win.
Okay, I'm gonna go Eugenie Bouchard. It's no fun picking the obvious, I gotta pick one dark horse. I gotta pick one dark horse.
And then I'm gonna go for Wawrinka or Del Potro for the men.
Okay, I'm gonna go Wawrinka or mix it. We'll throw Fed in. We'll throw Fed. I'm not gonna bet against Fed.
Okay. Well, it wouldn't bother me if you went. All right, let's bet. All right.
All right. What's the bet? You have more money than I do, so I don't know. I don't know. It's not true. Yes, it is.
I need like 5 free tennis lessons if I win this bet. Okay.
Okay. Well, you haven't paid me for the last one, so we'll say 4.
Can you believe him right now?
Anyways.
All right. Anyways, you guys hold tight for some more exciting tennis news coming up on Mixed Doubles.
See ya.